For years, one airline became famous across America for one simple reason: ultra-cheap tickets. Some people loved it, others absolutely hated it, but almost everyone knew the name: Spirit Airlines. The bright yellow airplanes became impossible to miss at airports across the United States. For budget travelers, seeing a Spirit Airlines ticket online often felt shocking. Sometimes the fares were cheaper than a restaurant meal, cheaper than a train ride, or even cheaper than airport parking itself. To many passengers, Spirit Airlines represented freedom, the chance to travel across America without spending a fortune. But to others, the airline became a symbol of everything wrong with modern budget travel. Over the years, Spirit Airlines built one of the most controversial reputations in the aviation industry. The company became famous not only for low fares, but also for extra fees, tight seats, delayed flights, and viral internet complaints. Yet, despite all the criticism, millions of people kept buying tickets. Because at the end of the day, low prices are incredibly powerful. But after years of controversy, financial pressure, economic uncertainty, and fierce competition, the airline's journey finally came to an end. This is the rise and fall of Spirit Airlines. Spirit Airlines actually started long before most people noticed it. The company began in 1983 as a small travel business called Charter One. At first, the business mainly offered vacation packages and charter trips between cities like Detroit and Atlantic City. Back then, the company looked nothing like the famous airline people would later recognize. In the early years, the American airline industry was very different from today. Flying was often considered expensive, especially for middle-class families. Budget airlines were far less common, and most major airlines focused heavily on comfort, full service, and premium experiences. But during the late 1980s and early 1990s, the airline industry started changing rapidly. Competition increased, and new business models began appearing. That was when Charter One decided to transform into a commercial airline. In 1992, the company officially became Spirit Airlines. At first, Spirit operated only a small number of routes. The airline slowly expanded across the United States, targeting travelers who cared more about saving money than luxury. And that strategy would eventually change everything. Spirit Airlines realized something very important. Millions of Americans simply wanted the cheapest ticket possible. They did not necessarily care about free meals, extra legroom, or fancy airport lounges. They just wanted to get from one place to another at the lowest possible price. So Spirit focused on becoming an ultra-low-cost carrier. The idea was simple but revolutionary. Keep ticket prices extremely cheap, then charge extra for almost everything else. Instead of including services in the ticket price, Spirit allowed passengers to pay only for what they actually used. Need a carry-on bag? Extra fee. Want to select your seat in advance? Extra fee. Need snacks or drinks during the flight? Extra fee. Even printing a boarding pass at the airport could cost additional money. For many traditional travelers, this business model felt strange and frustrating. Some passengers believed the airline was intentionally hiding the real cost of travel behind dozens of small charges. But for budget-conscious travelers, Spirit Airlines became incredibly attractive. A student trying to visit family during holidays could suddenly afford a flight. Young travelers could take weekend vacations for a fraction of normal airline prices. Families with limited budgets suddenly had more opportunities to travel across the country. Spirit Airlines understood that price mattered more than comfort for many customers. And surprisingly, the strategy worked extremely well. Throughout the 2000s, and especially during the 2010s, Spirit Airlines grew rapidly. The airline added more planes, more employees, and more destinations. Bright yellow aircraft became common sights at airports across America. Spirit expanded into major cities, tourist destinations, and vacation hotspots. The airline especially became popular in places like Florida, Las Vegas, and other high-demand travel markets. The company's marketing strategy also attracted attention. Spirit Airlines became known for bold advertisements, humorous campaigns, and controversial promotions designed to generate publicity. Sometimes the marketing worked brilliantly. Other times, it created backlash and criticism. But one thing was certain: people kept talking about Spirit Airlines. At one point, Spirit became one of the fastest-growing airlines in the United States. Its low-cost strategy forced the entire airline industry to react. Major airlines that once focused only on premium service suddenly introduced cheaper ticket categories to compete. The success of Spirit Airlines proved that millions of travelers prioritized affordability above almost everything else. In many ways, Spirit changed the airline industry forever. But rapid growth also created serious challenges. As Spirit Airlines became larger, criticism grew louder. Passengers frequently complained about flight delays, customer service problems, cancellations, baggage fees, and tight seating arrangements. The airline often ranked poorly in customer satisfaction reports. Online reviews became filled with stories from frustrated passengers. Social media made the situation even more intense. Videos showing angry travelers, crowded airport gates, and customer service disputes often spread quickly across the internet. For some people, flying Spirit Airlines became almost a joke online. Late-night comedians, internet creators, and social media users frequently mocked the airline's reputation. Still, despite all the criticism, the planes continued filling with passengers because the prices remained difficult to ignore. Spirit Airlines understood something important about consumer behavior. Many people are willing to accept inconvenience if the savings are large enough. And for years, that formula kept the company growing. Then came one of the biggest crises in modern aviation history, the COVID-19 pandemic. When global travel suddenly collapsed in 2020, airlines around the world faced enormous financial pressure. Flights were canceled, airports became nearly empty, tourism industries shut down almost overnight. Like many airlines, Spirit Airlines suffered massive losses. Although travel demand eventually recovered, the airline industry after the pandemic became far more difficult and expensive. Fuel prices increased dramatically. Labor costs increased. Maintenance costs increased. Competition among low-cost airlines became more aggressive. At the same time, passengers increasingly expected better customer service, better reliability, and fewer disruptions. Spirit Airlines found itself trapped between rising costs and customer expectations. The airline attempted several strategies to survive. There were discussions about mergers, restructuring plans, and possible partnerships with other airlines. Executives tried to improve the company's image and strengthen financial stability. But the challenges kept growing. Economic uncertainty continued affecting consumer spending. Operational disruptions damaged customer trust, and competition from other airlines became even stronger. Behind the scenes, Spirit Airlines struggled to remain profitable. Financial pressures slowly mounted year after year. Eventually, the company reached a point where continuing operations became increasingly difficult. After years of pressure and financial struggles, Spirit Airlines officially shut down operations in 2026. For millions of travelers, the news felt surprising, even shocking. Because regardless of whether people loved or hated the airline, Spirit Airlines had become part of American travel culture. The airline represented an entire era of ultra-budget air travel. For some passengers, Spirit Airlines created opportunities they otherwise never could have afforded. Cheap tickets allowed people to visit family, take vacations, attend important events, and explore new cities. For others, the airline represented frustration, stress, and uncomfortable travel experiences. But few companies in aviation history created as much public discussion as Spirit Airlines. Its influence on the airline industry remains enormous. The company forced major airlines to rethink pricing strategies. It helped normalize the idea of basic economy tickets across America, and it demonstrated how powerful low-cost business models could become in modern aviation. Even after its shutdown, the legacy of Spirit Airlines continues shaping how airlines compete today. The bright yellow airplanes may no longer dominate airports, but their impact on the industry will not be forgotten anytime soon. From humble beginnings as a small charter business to becoming one of the most recognized and controversial airlines in America, the story of Spirit Airlines remains one of the most fascinating chapters in aviation history. A story about ambition, a story about risk, a story about low prices changing an entire industry, and ultimately, a story about how difficult survival can be in the world of modern aviation. Thanks for watching. What do you think about Spirit Airlines? Would you ever fly on a budget airline? Let us know in the comments below.